there's that sound of white noise, like the sort of like there's a TV on something, or there's an electronic somewhere, a speaker that's on but the volume's all the way down. That sort of low, that generally low kind of constant hum. The room itself is that sort of same sort of sterile white and like kind of chrome metallics all over of many of the labs in Tartarus. And for the first time in a while, you guys have been gathered again. The lab itself is mostly empty. All of the various electronics and high-end testing equipment, which is beyond many of you, kind of hugs the walls of this room, because in the center of the room is a simple, like, kind of like a metal table. Almost looks like the sort of carts that you would like push along, whatever, but just all metal, stainless steel sort of table. And on top of it is what looks almost like some sort of polyhedral, but broken, like a shard of one. It has several flat edges that you can see, but the rest of it is kind of like broken. It looks like a heavily porous rock on the other side of it, but the sides of the object itself are a kind of oil slick sort of color, that weird sort of shimmer of multiple colors depending on the angle you look at it. The rocky porous side is kind of a dull gray. It looks like it'll crumble at any moment. There's several people at the various kind of like terminals, whatnot, around the kind of sides of the room. And you can see that there is maybe like 2-3 feet from this table, there's various devices, like with protrusions kind of pointing towards this object. That white noise is particularly loud to some. For Crash, it's been uncomfortable since you walked in here. It's that feeling for you, Crash, of being watched, but not knowing who it is. It's the feeling of something is just like hidden out of your vision or out of your hearing. There's something lurking in the water type of feeling, like this sense like you are not alone. For Halo, fresh out of solitary, still without your chakram, the noise is different. It's a constant low-level buzz, more so than a white noise. A weird sort of near hum that no one else seems really to hear. No one else, that is, except Liberator, who seems to hear the exact same sort of humming noise. Now, while the three of you can certainly detect that there is some sort of sound happening in this room, there's something going on. There's no real way of necessarily knowing what it is. Standing not that far from the object on the table is Dr. Mills, the the African-American gentleman who seems to be the head researcher for the Tartarus facility. He kind of continues standing by one of the scanning protrusions, looking at this broken polyhedral, which is about the size, we'll say. Really, it's almost like the size of a small watermelon. You know what I mean? Or like it's large. Maybe closer to like a basketball. You know what I mean? Um, but you guys are there, kind of having been escorted in, with no real rhyme or reason to anything. Like no explanation. They've just come to get you and get you there. And as you're there, standing there for a few moments, the guards kind of on either side of you. Dr. Mills seems completely oblivious to your arrival. And after kind of a moment, he hears Crash kind of shuffling uncomfortably, you know what I mean, based on his sheer size. And Dr. Mills turns, good. And he gets walking over towards you guys. There's been a series of developments that I believe will require your specific attentions. I've spoken to the warden about this, but, well... And he kind of pauses for a moment. And he looks at the guard, and the guard just seeming, on cue, goes, "He'll be right here, sir." Good. Now, during the cleanup, starting at the beginning, during the cleanup of your encounter with the agitated flora, we'll call it, and the individuals with the flamethrowers, we believe possibly individuals working for some covert branch of the government is my theory. But regardless, my question upon seeing the reports of why did all of this happen? After the cleanup, I did extensive scans. And I picked up a signal that I've only encountered a couple of other times, that I had to cross-reference with some fairly old data. After doing some research, I was able to devise something that was able to pinpoint what I believed was possibly what caused this event to transpire. The finger which pushed the dominoes, so to speak. We found
I didn't see any dominoes.
You wouldn't see very many things, Crash. Your vision is quite poor.
You're not wrong.
We found that object not far from the town, which had been infested by that botanical creature. That object we found 20 feet embedded in the ground, at a trajectory which suggests it had fallen from space. That object is obviously broken, incomplete, and most certainly not of human design. Now, the reason I've called you here is my devices have continued to be fine-tuned to, well, find any other such items like this. I believe that this item is but a broken piece of a larger whole. I don't want to get too far into my hypothesis about what it is or where it came from, but suffice it to say, my devices have found a signal somewhere within New York City. Now, that is a fairly large area to cover with a large amount of people, a daunting task filled with conflicting signals and the like. But it is certainly something. If it was able to agitate the botanical creature, who knows what else it might be capable of, much less in such a... Yes, Crash.
Is the piece you're looking for like that one?
All the data we have, Crash, is that it will look something like that. But it could have broken, Crash, in many different ways. A rock never breaks the same way twice.
Crash will walk over to the object and sniff it.
So Halo had been like up next to Crash, making sure that like Crash is between her and Liberator. When he does that, she just kind of like looks over at Liberator and like shifts uncomfortably.
Crash, make me a perception roll.
Do we know,
that's a
is the humming
28.
sound...
I rolled a 15 and got a plus 13, so that's a 28.
Nice.
What was that altogether?
28.
28. Crash, it smells incredibly sterile. It doesn't have any scent of human or animal. It doesn't smell like vegetation. It doesn't even smell like the earth it was supposedly embedded in. It smells very... It has almost kind of like a slightly acrid kind of scent to it. But the thing that's strange is the closer you get to it, the more that feeling, that white noise and that feeling of being watched increases. Like, to the point where you, with your vision the way it is, you feel like there's someone else in the room.
I was about to ask, is the humming sound that we heard, that like, is that coming from the object?
As far as you can tell, Halo, the sound seems to be coming from the object.
Can I attempt to gently scan it? Just see if I hear anything else. That's all. Like, I don't want to like go in or anything. I just kind of like...
So you kind of like focusing in on it. Crash is just kind of like looking at it, sniffing it. Liberator, what are you doing?
The feeling of being watched, is that only Crash? Because I know we can hear a different thing. Do we have the same?
You do not have the feeling of being watched at all. You and Halo don't have that. You and Halo just have that white noise sound. That's more of a hum.
Okay, so I would like to roll something. I want to roll as soon as I can find it. Can I roll expertise alien?
Yes, you can.
Natural one.
All right. Yes.
This you
While
have
I'm scanning, that's going to go well.
You have a very hard time believing that this thing is of alien origin. You know a little thing about aliens. The aliens you know about wouldn't make something like this. So, like, the scientists clearly got it wrong.
Yeah, this looks man-made. This looks... to me, I suspect it's man-made. I suspect that they want us to believe it's extraterrestrial in nature.
Do you say that out loud, or is that your thought process?
No, I say that out loud.
Dr. Mills looks at you and goes, "It is possible. But we cannot allow this object, given its potential influence on surrounding biological life, to simply exist in one of the crowded places on the planet. So towards that end, we'll be sending you to go to retrieve it. We don't want to contact larger known heroic groups due to the fact that it could create some sort of panic. If suddenly a well-known super team begins wandering around looking for a potentially dangerous object, one, it will only make the job harder, and two, their mere presence could inspire a certain amount of difficulty. Now,
I'm sorry,
because
Doctor, but how exactly are the likes of us supposed to track down some high-tech signal rock?
well, given your various areas of expertise, I think the choices are obvious. Crash's senses are superhuman, and he is of a different type of life form, meaning that he is likely going to be more resistant to any sort of influences that it might have. Liberator himself has certain knowledge which may help him in this particular endeavor, and he also has heightened senses and increased resilience. And do you hear a humming?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We don't.
Oh. Yeah, also like somebody's watching me. It's weird.
What do you mean
Yes,
by that?
There's cameras all in this place.
No. Several of the others who have come in here have said that they feel a sense as if they're being watched the closer they get to the object.
Yeah.
The object which, to us, simply gives a certain level of unease, but to individuals possessed of certain abilities, they hear a humming. Now, I know that all three of you, while certainly capable, are not experts in scientific nor technological matters, which is why I have spoken with the warden, and we will be requisitioning some assistance. And at that, you hear the doors open up. And, oh, Atlas can, I don't know if I have it. Give me a second.
Put
The
me on the
picture
spot.
of Couch's character.
Give me 2 hot seconds. I should be able to. You just let me screen share, John?
Yeah, go for it.
There you
go. Walking in a kind of very quiet sort of clank, 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 clank. Not like super loud, but very clearly encased in this high-tech armor is an individual that none of you have seen before. However, I will allow everyone but Crash and obviously Couch. So Liberator and Halo, you can make me just a flat intellect check.
Intellect. Oh, I have numbers in that.
Is that a skill or is it just?
It's a main attribute. Yeah, it's an ability.
It's at the top under abilities.
All right, no numbers in that, but I rolled a 17.
Fuck you! I have numbers in that. I got a 12.
Okay. Liberator. That is Cypher. And the reason you know that's Cypher is Cypher's a world-renowned supervillain. A super genius of some renown, known for fairly high-level exploits. One of the few super geniuses active since the the super genius purge about 10, 12 years ago. But that armor is unmistakable. That walk is there. There's footage out there of this villain wreaking havoc with various super teams. Hell, even the Warden himself, back when he was Titan, has tangled with Cypher and his various types of nefarious schemes. This is like Dr. Doom just walked into the room.
Crash will lean over to Halo. Go. That's some cool armor.
You can see that? I was just whispering to her. I was like, you can see that?
No.
So
No.
So Liberator will approach Cypher.
Cypher, you can give me one of 3 rolls. You can give me a perception roll.
Mm-hmm.
You can give me a science or technology roll. Okay, we're counting them in the same one. You'd pick one. Or you can give me an insight roll.
I will go perception.
Okay.
It's got my best attribute.
He perceives the giant unicorn.
24.
Holy shit.
Nice.
Cypher, you walk in and you can see the lab, and you very clearly can see what they're doing there. You can very clearly ascertain what is being studied. You see the kind of anthropomorphic rhinoceros man right by the object that they're studying in question, clearly trying to suss out what it is. While you see the young woman not that far from him, kind of looking at it, but she certainly turns to regard you. You see Liberator kind of making his way towards you. The object is very clearly broken. You don't know. It doesn't look like it was cut open. It looks like it was broken. The various people around don't seem to be wearing any discernible protective gear. But they certainly seem like they're kind of feverishly like researching stuff, whatnot. The strange thing is you can pick up an almost imperceptible kind of, I guess the easiest way I could say it would be like a vibration coming from the broken object. Yeah. But yeah, so you walk in.
I would say, while they're talking, did anything come from me scanning it at all?
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Liberator, you kind of get walking towards Cypher.
Yep.
Cypher, you kind of walk on in, hands behind your back. Not because you know you're cuffed or anything like that. They escorted you in like that. And Halo, you kind of look at Crash and then look back at the thing and make me a will save.
Oh. Everything's gonna be all right. Gotta find my will. Oh, everything's fine. I got a big will. 26.
No.
Big Willie style.
I got a big Willie.
Oh.
Cool. Liberator, give me a will save.
All right.
Natural 1.
You fucking called it.
Did I? Holy. Vengeance is mine, bitch.
All right. So a series
Should we
of
put a
things
disclaimer
happens.
like we all love each other, JK? All this is like in fair game.
But we don't know.
So Cypher, you kind of walk in, you're looking at this, and a series of things happens. Crash, you become aware of it as well. Liberator starts walking towards you, Cypher, and you kind of you recognize them from the different news, whatnot, including the news story about when they first appeared. So you kind of easily recognize them coming towards you. And then He just stops. And starts to shake a little bit. Like frozen. And the mouth opens up like he's about to say something. At that exact moment, Halo kind of looks at the polyhedral, the broken polyhedral, and starts to she looks like she's about to lose her balance, to which Crash is immediately there, kind of like to grab her. Halo, you look at it, and in an instant, you hear distant voices. That humming changes to a language that you can't quite understand, a language not coming from here, a language coming from someplace very far away, from a very potent mind. Because Halo, you can't be certain, but this might be a relay, a psychic relay, specifically to, say, extend the range of someone's ability to communicate mentally, because you are suddenly aware of vast, vast places far beyond where you are. Okay? And what's worse is then you feel like you can hear it, but you can also hear there's a voice out there, but you can also hear like a couple voices closer. Again, not in the correct language, but then you hear, kind of while you're hearing the alien languages, you hear somewhere closer. You got to tell me where it is. Where'd you find it? Liberator.
Yes.
You have about 3 seconds to say what you really feel. You catch me?
Okay.
Tell me when you're ready.
1 second.
Okay.
A second, because I need to think. Yeah, put me on the spot, motherfucker.
I know.
That.
Okay, go. Please let me out. This isn't what it seems.
I quit. Halo's out.
Cypher, what are you doing? Like, he says that
Cypher,
Right in front of you.
and then starts kind of like shaking his head.
I sort of just walk past him. I don't even acknowledge. I just keep walking towards the lab table.
Okay.
And Cypher just goes, "Is this what you've called me here for?"
Like, Halo, you kind of, the distance
Yeah.
goes away.
I
you're
shake.
kinda like-
Halo shakes her head, and I Crash. Did you get close enough that I could like death grip?
Oh,
you?
he's got you.
I got you.
Okay,
I got
I just
hold
want to
of
make
you.
sure. Yeah, she's just kind of holding on to Crash, and she just looks from Liberator, kind of mouth open, like, and then to this new guy, and then looks at the doctor and goes, "That's basically a Wi-Fi booster. Like, someone's using it to extend their abilities." And she kind of backs up into Crash, like, like
Dr. Mills just kind of looks whatnot at Halo and at Cypher and glances over towards Liberator, who just stands there. Because, he was walking towards Cypher, and Cypher just walked by him like he didn't even exist. Like, okay, small fry, but you have your little freak out. So, like, Liberator, you kind of like shake your head a little bit, trying to process what happened, right? And you realize that, like no one's even paying attention to you.
no, Halo's staring at him pretty hard.
Like, Halo's looking at you, but everyone else just like walked by, whatnot.
So, just so I know, am I aware of what happened?
Very.
Okay, so can I have a look around? And obviously looking around, I've realized that no one's really paid much attention, except for Halo.
Yep.
Okay,
Halo's
thanks.
got your number. Halo's got your number.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Mills just kind of looks, and then he looks at Cypher. We had suspicion that this object may be some sort of communication booster, given the fact that it is operating with some sort of signal in individuals with specific abilities. He looks at Halo, seem to be more affected by it. And he glances over to Liberator very quickly.
And no disrespect meant, Doctor, but your first instinct was to put it underground with a bunch of people that shouldn't be near it.
Well, Halo, there is a certain obligation men of science have to make sure that these things are understood. My mistake in the past was allowing my own hubris to potentially endanger other people, and in fact, many people died because of that hubris. I am not simply going to allow an object we do not understand, that we only have a piece of, to continue to exist. This was the safest place.
And of course, we're expendable. Isn't that right, Doctor?
Some of us are.
Dr. Mills kind of looks at you, goes, the reality of your situation is very clearly understood to you. While myself and the warden consider you to be individuals worthy of redemption,
the world would not miss us.
You are not incorrect in your assessment.
I do appreciate that, Doctor, and I appreciate the situation you're in, and I appreciate our current position. I'd appreciate a heads up next time.
A heads
and without
up in
looking
regards.
away, Cypher's still looking at the object, and Cypher just goes, yeah, but there is the scientific method, and we do have to follow it correctly. So people, much like yourselves, need to learn to not play with things they don't understand. We are trying to understand it. Isn't that right, Doctor?
There is a fallacy in your argument there. You say that we shouldn't play with things we don't understand. We didn't play with this.
That's to be fair, 90% of what this one does. She just kind of thumbs over at Crash.
This was put in front of us. We had no choice in the matter.
You're not the ones playing with it.
He's talking about the normal ones.
They're the ones also testing you, if you understand.
I think we're on the same wavelength, but...
Dr. Mills goes, the debate about what we're going to do with this object or why it was brought here is not the debate that we're having at the moment. What we need to do is to find the other pieces of this object, because as we have already seen and very clearly demonstrated, it certainly has an effect. And
what happens if you put two broken pieces together? I don't think that's something you want to do.
We are already attempting to understand what it is. Your theory on what it is been my running theory as well. Now, if this is, as you say, a Wi-Fi extender, he turns and looks at Cypher, a communication booster for those with telepathic abilities, we believe. then we need to know everything about the strength of this relay and whether the relay is, as is most often the case, part of a network. We know that there is at least a piece, something radiating the exact same type of signal in New York City. We cannot allow it to continue to exist. We do not know what the long-term effects are of exposure to this signal.
So, with that being said, if we encounter this piece, are we authorized to destroy it?
No. We need the piece to study so that we can understand the extent of the full object.
Decipher looks down at his arm, looks at the object, presses a couple of buttons on his suit, and you see like a different color lens start to flash through, and he's going, I've scanned it. I'll be able to search for it too. Where are we going again?
New York City.
New York City, the closest I've been able to ascertain is someplace within Brooklyn, but that's only a 42% estimation.
Brooklyn. That's the place I kind of wrecked. The Whole Foods there.
Well, then perhaps you will have an even better chance of discerning any sensory differences and be able to ascertain where the object is. You all have skills acutely suited for this task.
Well,
when do we leave?
Yeah, we have our mission. Suit up. Let's get ready. And
He kind of
Crash
stops
looks
and looks at you and then looks at Cypher. There is certain parameters which need to be established first. Liberator is the leader of this team, Cypher, as directed by the warden himself.
Yes, I was told.
As the leader of the team, he is authorized to provide instructions that you are expected to follow. Any attempt to escape, to release yourself back into the population, will void any further offers of rehabilitation for you. And I'm sure you can ascertain that we would not have given your suit back to you unless there were fail-safes that made sure that certain events did not transpire.
Yes.
And they're not shy about using them either.
I'm sure Cypher's scientific curiosity will definitely align his interests with ours.
I made an agreement. I'll follow it through.
Is Halo going to get her things back?
Her chakram will be waiting for her at the teleportation pad. Now, Crash, this is very important. Everyone else here is, well, to be quite honest, at least base human. You are the furthest biologically from any of them. You are likely going to be the one least affected if there are any unknown consequences of exposure to this. If anyone needs to carry this item, it will most likely be you who would be the safest to do so.
I get it. I didn't get it up until that point, but now I got it.
You have to be our muscle, our unicorn muscle.
I am a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
Liberator.
Yes.
Given the exact nature of the relay, it is almost a certainty that Halo and anyone with her particular abilities will be most attuned to the object. Make sure that she is kept safe or you lose the ability to pinpoint it.
Will do.
Cypher, I will not insult your intelligence by explaining the task at hand.
I understand. He sort of looks around the rest of the team and goes, I will do what needs to be done at this current moment. We need to find and bring back the object. And you hear the smile in his voice, because obviously all you see is that deadpan
arm. Dr. Mills just kind of looks at you guys, and then he kind of goes back to looking at the object. And then he says, oh, I'm supposed to convey that the warden has utmost faith that you will be able to accomplish this task. Even you, Cypher.
I never fail.
I mean, you're here, so
Failed at some point.
Only because I got bored.
Did Liberator and Halo just agree on something?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Cypher, the one to bring them together.
So, never fail.
So,
Really, never.
so Dr. Mills goes back to looking at the object, and one of the guards just kind of goes, "Okay, everyone, on me," and he turns and just gets walking out the door.
I will wait until Cypher and Liberator go. I am not having them behind me.
Cypher stands there and looks and goes, obviously the leader first.
I appreciate your decorum. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
You get
Liberator
heading
will
on the-
walk out.
What, Halo? What's going on?
Cypher starts.
Humans call it a dick measuring contest, but it's just let them do their thing. I don't even want to get in between it.
Just a quick pause. How's Couch sounding to everyone else? Because
He's
sounds
coming
off-
to me.
Super
Which is
distorted. It
actually
sounds like
kinda-
he's in character. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah,
It's really
he's a
cool.
little staticky, but
Yeah.
it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, it worked. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't only me.
No, I mean,
I mean, I'm talking now. Am I talking?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it still
it's
just
fine
yeah,
now.
no,
all-
you're good. You're good.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
So, Liberator gets heading on out. Rest of you guys follow.
Yep.
So you get making your way through the pristine white hallways of Tartarus with their kind of like terrariums embedded in the walls. You know, these beautiful green sealed bits of plant with some insects and stuff in there. Like it's just weird little like ensconced almost gardens. You know what I mean? You make your way through the kind of like winding hallways. Many of them with curves. There's not a lot of straight lines. You head past some of the kind of like all glass garage store style doorways, heading past several other inmates, and eventually you get to the kind of the exit, the access room, the teleportation room, the way that you're always brought in and out at this point. You guys kind of like get there, understanding a little bit better now how people get in and out of Tartarus than any of the other methods you've taken. And it's just this pad that you've kind of entered in on. It's just like it almost looks like a like a wireless charger. It's just a round pad with a single ring on it. There's a almost Star Trek style. There's a single kind of terminal that someone is standing at operating things. The guard just kind of looks at you, goes, Dr. Mills said he's put in the coordinates for the most likely place that's towards the center of the field, I guess. Says the best place to probably start looking is towards the center of the disturbance. So that's where you guys are going. Another guard gets walking on over with a black metal, almost like a suitcase. Just gets walking on over, walks up to Halo, and then just turns the suitcase around. And the case goes like hydraulic opens,
I don't even hesitate. I just grab them.
She reaches in, and Cypher, this is your first chance getting to see them like up close. You see she takes out two obvious like high-tech pieces of technology. You can't quite ascertain from a glance if they are alien or not, but kind of takes them off, and you watch. What would we decide your color was? Blue?
Like electric, like bright blue. Yeah.
She like takes them out, and the moment her hands touch them and she holds them up, you can see like kind of like blue light kind of shoot through it.
And her whole body language changes, because while she had been like without them the whole time, she was kind of shadowing Crash. And when she has her rings in her hands, she just kind of like stands on her own, completely different body language.
So as Cypher watches this, he goes, neat trick, and then twists one arm round and goes, watch, and presses a button on the inside of his palm, and he starts to glow. A deep black light through all his armor starts to surge, and he goes, we're going in hot then.
Whatever you say, Suit.
Just power down for now. We don't know what we're walking into.
I thought his name was Cypher.
It is.
All right.
It's Cypher.
Okay.
I mean, I'm liking the Rhinoceratiridae over there.
The what?
It's your genus name for what your family comes from, I believe.
You know my family? You better be careful what you say.
Yeah, Cypher. If I were you, I would definitely be careful.
Yeah. I've dealt with giant rhinos before. Elephants too. Something I've always said is it's always good to hunt a good game. But we're on the same team.
Crash is like, he already said the word hunt.
I put a ring up against his chest, just like easy there, unicorn, easy.
Okay, just
Don't
a
worry,
reminder to everybody.
We're on the same team.
Yeah, as much as I'm loath to necessarily agree, we are on the same team. So let's work together.
Crash, you have to remember, some people aren't like us and actually do deserve to be here.
Yeah, Warden keeps saying that.
Is there any way to turn Stefan up a little more? I'm hearing all you guys pretty clear, but Stefan's still a little low for me.
Is it because I'm talking quietly?
Possibly.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
If you hit Stefan on the right side where it says people, if you click that, you can adjust your volume to us.
Yeah, I got it all the way up.
Oh.
Yeah, it's all the way up on our end as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I'll just turn mine up a little. I'm hearing you guys pretty clear, but I'm hearing Stefan low. But that's fine. That's fine. I'll just crank it a little more on mine.
Mm.
All right. Do you guys step out onto the pad at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this time I'll make sure I'm between Cypher and Crash.
Crash. Once Halo put the circle on, he's very visibly he's calmed, and he looks at Liberator, and the captain, the team leader said, "Hey, we're on the same team." He's like, "Okay."
And Cypher sort of looks at the teleport pad and go, "Oh, it's a Mark II. I made the Mark IV, And he steps on it.
Let's just go.
There's this strange feeling where the world around you digitizes. Like everything pixelates around you and the colors kind of shamble. Like literally the world around you just suddenly goes super, super low res, and there's the sounds completely stop for a moment. Completely. Absolute silence. And then everything slowly kind of comes back into high res, like things stop being pixelated. And you guys are on a basketball court, right? Kind of later in the day, almost nighttime. Like the sun is low on the horizon. The shadows are long. Those summer shadows. Where everything's slightly sepia toned. I need everyone to give me a perception roll or an insight roll.
Okay, that's a 24 perception.
Okay.
26.
17.
Same, 17.
Hey,
For
twins.
everybody rolled perception?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. You look around. The court is empty. Possibly due to the fact that both of the hoops on either side of the very tattered fenced-in court are gone. The poles are still there, but the hoops are gone. The kind of like the pavement is cracked with little bits of weeds kind of coming out. Clearly signs that this court hasn't been used for a while. The fence is kind of tattered and hanging in parts. And wherever you are seems to be kind of, it doesn't seem like you're necessarily kind of like in a heavy like residential area. Like you're kind of on a corner, like the court's kind of like here. There's like a parking lot here which has a couple burning barrels in it which aren't currently being aren't currently lit. And then the buildings nearby you, one of them seems to be like an auto shop, another one seems to be kind of just like a bodega, which looks like it's closed even this early in the night, which is kind of strange. And then a little further down the street, the only thing that seems to have any activity looks like a kind of a hole in the wall sort of dive bar. There is an overpass that kind of goes by the corner. So like behind you and up a little bit, there is highway, basically, like, road that's just cars nonstop. Based on what you're seeing, it doesn't seem, despite the fact, you are in New York City, you're not in a place where there's like a lot of people around at this specific moment. And this court clearly hasn't been used for a while. Crash, you're immediately kind of assailed by the sense of the smells of the city. You know what I mean? But you also smell ocean. You smell the salt water that you usually do in the city, very sort of faintly, but it doesn't seem like it's that far from you.
Okay.
Liberator, you kind of, when everything comes into view, you start looking around, kind of like looking and listening. The auto shop definitely has people in it doing work. You can hear the machines. You can hear people talking, whatnot. A lot of Spanish, it sounds like. The bodega seems to be closed. You think there's power on in there. You know what I mean? You think you hear like an ice machine. It's just closed for some reason. And the hole in the wall bar seems pretty busy, actually. Like, you hear lots of voices talking. The door's propped open, probably because you don't hear any AC. Cypher, you kind of look around, and your infravision doesn't penetrate walls, right? But you're kind of looking. The building that the auto shop is in clearly is warmer. There's definitely people and functioning machinery in there. That much you know. You look over towards the bodega. That's pretty much ambient environmental temperature, which is interesting because it's not cooled at all. It doesn't seem like the AC's running there. You look down towards the bar, and you can definitely see some heat signatures kind of walk on out, walk on in. There's definitely people in there. There are cars parked down that street. Most of them are cool. There's a couple of them which are cooling, meaning like people must have like just got out of them. You kind of look around, and you're not seeing anybody lurking around. Again, this court seems to be pretty much abandoned. A perfect place to teleport in a super squad.
We're sneaky.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
That's the Kronk theme. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun,
Da,
dun.
da, da, da.
So, do we have we got any inclination of that hum?
No.
Okay.
Nope. I'm like, even Halo, you don't sense it at all. But phantom noises, if you hear like a beep or something for long enough, you still feel like you hear it.
Uh-huh.
Like part of you keeps thinking that you hear it.
But nothing to go on.
Not a thing.
Right. Halo. I think you and I should do flybys. See if there's anywhere in this immediate area where we get that same sensation that we had.
All right. I can take east.
I'll take west. You two stay here. Keep an eye out. Let us know if you see anything out of the ordinary.
All right. Will do. I don't see much, but yeah.
Hey, Halo pauses for a brief second, almost like, should we leave them alone? Just say it, but it's very clearly like,
Come back! The block's destroyed. Friggin' the tip of Crash's horn is broken. His armor's all bent up, whatnot.
Right.
We're like,
Oh, hey guys.
Liberated. I trust my team.
I don't trust you.
well, that's because
Halo's
you're-
still just like,
that's because you're a true hero.
Thank you.
Cypher just sort of looks around the court, looks around and just sort of sees a possible spot that he could just sit down and just goes, well, I'll stay and wait then. And
Maybe-
he just goes and sits down.
okay.
It's funny, he just like walks over towards one of those burning barrels, and he's just like, and then just like sits on it
I
like a
don't
stool.
know what you do, but maybe your suit can see if there's been any like I don't know, interference in telephone poles or radio signals somewhere while we. But that's up to you. And I will start floating up, and I'll scan while I search.
Okay, so I can't remember. Liberator, are you a Superman flyer or are you an upright flyer?
I think when I want to fly at a speed, I'll be horizontal. But I think right now I'm quite comfortable going.
So he kind of just, floats straight up, and then it's interesting to watch Cypher to watch Halo fly, because she just kind of puts those rings out almost like someone working rings in like the Olympics, you know what I mean? She like puts them out, and then they kind of glow that blue, and she kind of floats up and kind of drifts off like.
I'm so glad we went with your description.
I've seen a lot of people working rings.
I'm so glad he gave it that description, because my brain immediately went to those the spinny fairy Barbies that the little girls get, that they go whoo.
So they get flying off. Cypher, you just kind of sit down on this barrel, which clearly hasn't been used for a while because again, it's warm out, it's summertime. And Crash, you just kind of stand there on this basketball pavement while the two of them get flying off in different directions. While they get flying off, are you guys doing anything?
So,
I will.
What'd you do to get in here?
Cypher slowly looks up. What does anyone do to get anywhere?
Like, what I mean is, what'd you do that they came after you to catch you? How'd they catch you?
They never did. I came in willingly. I was bored. No one could catch me.
Okay. And he's going to turn around and just kind of stare up at the sky and watch around, look around. And
And he sort of looks and he goes, "So, did you break a Whole Foods, did you say?"
Yeah, I was hungry. And
yeah, I can imagine
I don't eat
all
meat,
of that.
So
yeah, all of that takes a lot to continue, if you will.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand how things worked yet, but Warden is telling me.
Yeah. He's been around a while, that Warden.
Yeah.
I've dealt with him before too.
Oh. Nice guy. I like him.
He was. Yeah. Apparently, the Warden also knows me by a different name.
I don't get it.
The Warden calls him Daddy.
Yeah, I mean, he has shown me something most people don't, so I give him some leeway. Although he made me really angry last time.
Oh, I mean, was that the time that you were broadcasted, or was that another time?
The time I was what?
On the TV.
Oh, it was this last time when they hurt Halo.
Oh.
I broke his desk and knocked him down.
I was given. And they do this regularly?
No. Not that I know.
Okay. And as he does that, he starts to survey around, and using his infravision and sensors, he's going to try and sort of start reaching out to see if he can pick up on any frequencies or anything.
All right. I need a perception roll from everybody.
And I can't do a general scan, right? It has to be something specific.
Yeah.
Okay.
27.
22.
25.
17.
Hey!
Roll the 4 again.
Crash, you smell this kind of horrible, sort of, kind of a sour smell to you, kind of coming from the direction where you actually hear people.
Like the bar?
The doors open, you can hear people. Yeah. Basically, you're smelling that sort of old bar alcohol smell. Cypher, you kind of like look around and you're trying to. You don't think the signature is going to, the energy signature is going to show up like on infravision. It's not a radio signature you're probably going to pick up, but you're trying to, you're just looking around while you're trying to piece together like what you could do. Trying to think about it a little bit. But as you're kind of there and you just kind of listening, you kind of decide to scan through some of the nearby kind of like cell service, just eavesdropping. And you distinctly hear, because you're obviously shooting for the kind of closer communications that you can pick up because you only have a limited range with it, but you're kind of listening, and you hear someone as you're scanning through the kind of cellular service. You hear someone being like, "Oh yeah, no, you got to come down. You got to come down to Vix. Yeah, no. There's a guy here who's buying everybody drinks. Yeah, I don't know. He's fucking loaded, I guess. But he's like, it's like never ending bringing all you can drink down here. You got to get down here if you want it. You want some free drinks. He doesn't seem to care who he's buying for. He's just buying for everybody. No, man, I don't know. He says he says he's celebrating. Apparently, some sort of hit a jackpot with something. I don't know.
And Cypher, sort of listening to this, slowly looks up at Crash and goes, "Hey, big guy.
Yeah.
Do you drink?"
I drink. I hydrate. Yes.
Do you hydrate with flavored aqua?
Why?
Do you want someone to buy you a drink?
I don't. Sure. I don't. Yeah. I mean, do you have to pay for water here?
Some places, and I wouldn't trust the tap water in Brooklyn.
No, it smells funny.
Yeah. So, let's go find a place called Vix. I don't think our friends Halo or Liberator would mind.
You think?
Shall we?
Should we? I mean, we should probably tell them.
Yeah, but they'll hear us. They've got super hearing, remember?
Do they?
Liberator definitely does.
Oh.
And you're not hard to miss.
No, you're right. I'm not. Okay.
Let's go get a drink.
Sure. All right.
And Cypher stands up and sort of goes and looks around to see if it's that bar.
It is.
And he goes, "Let's go." So he starts walking with Crash to the bar.
Halo's gonna go gray. Like, just like...
All right. Liberator, you flying around, and you're trying to really like focus in, like on that hum that you heard before, and you're not really hearing it. You know what I mean? And you're trying to find it. You kind of zip around, and then at one point you just kind of stop. And you're like, and you're just kind of focusing in, and you immediately go to check in on your team because you're a true hero.
Yeah, of course.
And you kind of glance out, and you see Halo kind of coming back, from her kind of her arc. You know what I mean? And you hear, you're trying to. The hardest part of your senses is picking out the distinct voices. So you're like, hear people talking, cars, sirens, and then you hear, "Come on, we'll go get a drink." Okay, and then you can hear the distinct clank, clank, and you're like, and you turn and look, and you're a little ways away, right? Is he frozen? Okay, there he is.
Yeah, just
That's okay.
Sorry.
But you kind of turn and look. You hear that conversation, the ass end of that conversation, and you see them like walking up, like you hear them walking up. So you turn and you're like, oh. And sure enough, you see Cypher just hands behind his back, just kind of leading the way with a reluctant, seemingly slightly confused Crash towards that bar with the door open, like past the bodega. Apparently just going to go into a crowded bar in a super suit, like in a battle suit in a giant anthropomorphic rhino.
So I'll over the communicator, it'll be like, Halo, I haven't found anything. How about you?
Halo. Flying on out. And then you start to hear it. That hum. Very, very faintly. Truth be told, it almost sounds like it's coming through a wall. Or like when you hear someone like talking on like when you butt dial someone, you hear like a phone in someone's pocket. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That muffled sort of sound. Like you hear it, but it sounds like there's something sort of blocking it, interfering from it. You can't quite make it out. You kind of like stop.
Can I feel like or hear a general direction at least?
It's close. Like not like. I mean, by close I mean it's definitely in Brooklyn, but it's like it's even closer than that. Like you're trying to like narrow it down. You're trying to like take your senses and kind of focus in on where it is, and it's like it's the sort of thing. It's like you do it all the time. Okay. Oh, what was that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's someone in the living. That's someone in the living room. Mm-hmm. Who is that? Like you're like narrowing it down, but it's hard. Like I say, it's muffled. And then something weird happens. It starts to quiet. Then it kind of, you focus in on it a little bit more, and it starts to get louder. And you try to focus in on it. And it does very much feel almost like hot and cold. It seems like the more you focus in on it, the louder it gets to you. It doesn't, you can't quite pinpoint it, but it almost seems like it reacts to you trying to find it.
Liberator, when you ask her that, she very clearly looks like confused and frustrated, and she's doing that dog tilt thing where she's like the other, she's like
and you can see her like she kind of has gone to a near stop. She's just kind of slowly drifting, almost on the wind, and she's there like
I don't know, this makes no sense. I almost have it, but it's not. And she does this again, and she's kind of like
okay, so at least we've got general direction. We should go back to the other two because you'll never believe this.